elements.
Okay, with the second question is in your opinion what's called the rocking mirror symbolism in the story and how does it affect the ending?
Okay, the broken mirror seems to be a key moment. When it shattered, it sent a cold wind through the room, representing the destruction of supernatural forces.
Okay, thank you. It was a good answer to Gina asking Silvana. So our tier one podcast is from a horror history. It's a mysterious. The next one, please.
Hello, I'm Gianca Carrillo and welcome to podcast The Twist at 3 a.m. A few years ago, my sister and I went through something I still struggle to explain. It all started with a dream, but it turned into 3 months of pure horror. The first sense. For a week, my sister were waking up at 3 a.m., crying, terrified. She said a young man dressed as a priest would appear in her room. He had heard a small voice full of apes and said, "Grant him eternal rest, O Lord." And she, without knowing why, would pray and let perpetual light shine upon him. We thought that was the worst of it. We had no idea what was coming. When it got worse. After the week, he truly began. For 3 months, every single morning at 3 a.m., my sister was waking up screaming. That said priest no longer brought her age. Now he showed her visions. He showed her how we went today, my mom, my siblings, my uncles, one by one. She said he tormented her day and night. We couldn't even sleep at home anymore. The crucifix. Desperate, we went to a priest. He placed a crucifix so she could finally rest. That same night at 3 a.m., the scream came back. My sister cried, saying the man was in her wound, that he was going to kill her. She screamed that the crucifix was choking her. We looked at her neck and the crucifix was normal still. And the Sunday, with all of us still crying, the crucifix snapped on its own. The voice that told her to kill. The events kept going dark. One afternoon, she was cooking out of nowhere. We saw her with a knife to her stomach, crying, shaking. She said the spirit was whispering to her, "Kill yourself, kill yourself." Another day, she was on the motorcycle with my dad on the way to school. She hit into hit zombie because the voice was telling her, "Kill your dad, toy now. Kill your dad, toy now." Terrible wound. We went to another priest. He told us to lock here in a room alone with a notebook to ask to spirit his name. To think of what it was. My sister didn't last a minute. She ran out screaming, desperate. She said it tormented her even more inside. The lie. When we saw how serious it was, we found a third priest. He blessed her, gave her praise. Holy water he spoke to her calmly. Little by little, the 3 a.m. visits stopped. The scream ends. My sister started to get better. But to this day, none of us forgot what happened inside top 4 was at 3 a.m. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yandra. It's so hard to stay in that situation. I can't imagine what do you do. in that moment. But I ask you, how did you feel in that moment?
Okay, and I was so scared. And wasn't just fear. It was like something was running me. My chest went cold, and I knew if I fell asleep, I wasn't waking up.
Okay, okay. But your cousin is involved in this history, so I want to ask you, how is your cousin now?
She's better, but not the same. She still can't sleep alone at 3 a.m. Then I left a mark on her.
Okay, thank you. I expect that her is better now after that traumatic experiences, right? The next podcast is comes to
For a long time, I've considered myself someone who believes there are things beyond what we normally understand. I don't know whether to call them paranormal or hallucinations. Since everyone has their own perspective, but I firmly believe there are forces we don't fully comprehend. I believe in a benevolent God who helps people, and I also believe there are malicious forces that seek to cause harm. About 4 years ago, in July 2022, I was 17 years old. That night, I was outside my house with some friends from the neighborhood. We were gathered and at friend's house, sitting around a tree, talking, laughing, and just hanging out. Right across from her house, next to mine, there was a woman who, because of her behavior, we used to call a witch. Her house was quite unusual. It didn't have electricity, and we weren't even sure if it had water or gas. There was never any light on, neither during the day nor at night. But that night, something was different. A friend and I were looking ahead when we noticed that there was a light on inside her living room. It immediately struck us as strange because the window was usually covered in a way that made it impossible to see inside. We kept talking as if nothing was happening. Until at one point I looked back at the house. I focused more carefully and saw something that sent shivers down my spine. A pair of feet hanging in the window, gently swaying as if someone were suspended there, like a person who had hanged themselves. I wasn't the only one who said it. My friend saw it too. I told him, "Look over there." At the moment everyone else turned to look, and just then the light went out, and it never turned on again. In all the years I've lived in that neighborhood, that was the only time I ever saw a light come on in that house and then go out. 4 years have passed since that moment, and to this day I still can't find any logical explanation. It became just a history among us, but some nights I still feel myself wondering, what did we really see?
okay, thank you. Everyone here, we are experiencing with a witch before, and we are listening before a history about witch on our neighborhood, for example, right? Jose, before that experience did you believe on witches, or after that experiences you just already believe in witches?
Yes, yes, because I am believer. I think in exist and force evils, and witches are that force.
Yeah, but the science offers a different explanation for the witches situation, right? So, do you believe in the science or the witches?
Both, both says both.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next podcast on Uparsistem horror history is come from.
Hi, welcome to Oral Stories. Today I'm here to tell you the story of Saul Montenegro. Many years ago, there lived a man named Saul Montenegro. He had a strange obsession sipping on women as they bathed in the river. Tired of hiding his son out a sorcerer who gave him two potions. One to transform him into a cayman and another to turn him back into a human. Everything was going well until one day his friend, who was supposed to health in return to normal, was terrified upon seeing him transformed into an animal. Overcome by fear, he drops the bottle. Only a few drops touched his head. His body was transformed forever. Old man, old cayman. Since then, the creature has wandered the banks of the Magdalena River. They say it watches in silence, with human eyes full of gold, waiting for some time that will never come. Some fishermen claim to have seen it. Emotionalists came in with a sad fast to human. Others said it's not sadness, it's wonder. The others nine along the coast. When the air grows heavy, heavy, the craving of crickets seems to stop for no reason. Some say the rider is asleep. Inns use waiting. Don't go near the waiter when everything is silent. To that silence is normal. It's as if sometime us scared away even the wind. If you decide to walk along the banks of the Magdalena River, watch your step because sometimes you'll hear others begging you, don't run, don't look back, run away. They say that whatever is lurking out there thrives on fear that move quickly.
Wait, wait. Okay, it's a famous legend here in Colombia, the crocodile man, or the alligator man in another way, right? So, Gina say us that the crocodile live on the Magdalena River. Yes. So, Caitlin, did you get question for Gina?
Yeah, what obsession did Saul Montenegro have, and how did it lead him to be tribe of half men or half cayman?
Thank you, Caitlin, for you questions. Um, Saul Montenegro was obsessed with watching women while they bathed in the river. To do this without being seen, he used a magic potion that turned him into an alligator. One day, something went wrong, and he could not return to his human form because of this. Because of this, he became old man of old alligator.
Okay, the alligator is so dangerous to the human life and the people to live in the Magdalena rivers nearly, right? So let's continue with our second podcast, right? Or do you want to answer another question? Yeah. So let's gonna answer the other question.
Okay. If only a few drops of the potion touch his head, what part of Saul's body do you think remain human, and why does that make the legend more tragic?
Item his hit triad human while his body become alligator. This makes the story more tragic because he called in and feel like a human. But he was trapped on animal body and called no life is a normal life.
Okay, is a description of the life of the people of the Magdalena River with the crocodile legend, right? On Ciénaga Magdalena is living the legend of the crocodile man, and we are continuing with the next podcast.
Hello, my name is Amelia Sofia. Welcome to this podcast. Today we're not talking about something ordinary. This isn't just any story, and it's not just a simple dragging. What you're about to hear might stay with you longer than you would like. It all started with an imagine. I checked that the seven manglings at first, messy lines, oversized eyes, a shape that didn't make some sense. But there was something strange, something your colleagues could put into words. They say the eyes are the windows to the soul, but what happens when it feels like something is staring back at you from the other side? Stay with me, because the story is just about what you see, but about what being to see you. This is the drawing that show exists. I found it on the last page of a notebook that was no name, no subject, no day, just scribble, lines over lines, lines some had drawn with blocking or worse. We not being able to stop. At first, it couldn't understand what it was until entering it. There they were, the eyes, two whole black wolfly circles, two leaves to be used ink. They didn't look drowned, they looked open, watching, waiting. That night, I could sleep every time I closed my eyes. I saw them, but they weren't still anymore. They were moving, blinking, getting closer. I woke up. I woke up slowly, my heart racing. The room was dark, silent except for something. A fine scratching sound, like a pencil on paper, slow, second sound it was coming from my backpack. I didn't want to move, but I knew that if I didn't look, it would be worse. My heart was shaking as I opened it. The notebook was open. I was sure I had closed it. The driving had changed. The light has grown, stretched now they formed something clearer. A shotgun shapeless head with some eyes, only bigger, and there was something new amount, not fully drawn, but forming, emerging from the subscript. The one of the eyes moved, not in my mind. On the page, it slowly turned until it was looking directly at me. I dropped the notebook, but it didn't fall. It stayed there, suspended. For just a second, and then the line started moving. They evolved and didn't change themselves, like something inside was pushing out, trying to take a step. The mouth opened, dark, to dead for straight for paper, and from it something come out, not a scream, as whisper, wet, dry wind, impossible to understand, but full of hunger. The lights went out. When they come back, the notebook was on the floor. Closer, everything was silent. It thought it was over, it was wrong. The next day, some looked at the strangely. Are you okay? They asked. Yeah. Why? They leaned closer, they first changed your eyes. I ran to the bathroom, and what's when I saw it? My pupils were bigger, too black, too deep, and I the reflection. I wasn't alone. Something was looking out from inside, and every time I blink, I can feel it drawing itself a little
Okay, it was so mysterious and horror podcast of Amelia. Amelia, from A1 is getting an question for you, right? Do you believe in a spirit?
Yes, yes, a little. The experience for me.
Okay, but okay, do you consider that the spirit existences, right? Dana wants to ask you something.
Okay, Amelia, the story is very scary. I have a question for you. Where did you find the notebook with the drawing?
I found the notebook inside my backpack, even though I completely sure it wasn't night and I hadn't put it there. That was the first thing that made me feel like something wasn't right.
Okay. Second question. How did you feel the first time that you saw the eyes?
The first time The first time saw the eyes, I feel very uncomfortable and scared because they didn't look like a normal drawing. They seemed too real, as if they were alive and starting related to me.
Okay, thank you, Dana. It's so interesting about the grand history that Amelia tell us, and share with us in her podcast. What do you think about that situation?
I think that the story is uh, much suspense in every second and every minute. I think that it's only suspense.
Okay, we are a lot history of suspense and crimes history on Colombia, right? Thank you, Amelia, for your podcast. Let's continue with our next podcast.
Welcome to my Paranormal Essence podcast that I call Home Alone podcast, in which I talk about one of my most paranormal experiences in the house where I used to live. I once lived through a paranormal sense in my previous house. It all started when I go out of bed to go get some water in the kitchen. When I tried to turn the lights, the switches wouldn't work, so I had to go to the kitchen in the dark. On my way to the fridge, I felt an intense cold throughout my body, but when I finally turned on the kitchen lights and was drinking water, the lights began to flicker. And that cold feeling returned. I felt like I was being watched from the dark hallway. I briefly saw a shadow pass behind me, and the back of the house door was open, so I went to close the door and noticed that the owner's protective candle had gone off. I was home alone, so gathering my courage, I went straight out there to the back to the house, turned on my flashlight, and waited for my mother to come home. All while feeling scared and cold in my backyard, the only thing that kept me company were the endless sounds of the night.
Let's continue with the question from Mr. Jose.
Okay. What would you do if you hear a voice calling your name outside your door at 12:03 a.m.? Will you open it or stay silent or stay inside?
If I heard a voice calling my name outside my door, I would not open it. It fears, check through uh, the peephole or a window and look logical explanation.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is: do you think the shadow can trigger on camera was something supernatural, or could there be a logical explication?
About the shadow, um, I could always seek a logical explanation. The light angle, reflection on misplaced objects.
Okay, thank you so much, Armando.
Thank you. Anyone here had been experienced to waking up at 3 a.m.? Yes or not? No?
Yes.
Yes, you?
Kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes. Um, what do you think that is the explanation
Um,
to waking up at 3 a.m.?
I don't know. One day I wake up
at 3 a.m. and I feel strange and I can't sleep anymore.
But you consider is a demon reasons to waking up,
Mm, some people say that it's a demon. I don't know.
or the evil is in your room.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue.
They say iPhone keeps memories. Proof son should not exist. One night a girl was alone at home. Before sleeping, she checked her iPhone. Everything was normal until she saw a picture she didn't remember taking. It was her room, dark, and on the bed. She was there sleeping. She went silent. I didn't take this. She summoned in. In the corner there was figure, tall, small, dark, watching her. She looked up quickly. Her room was empty. I overreacting. She put the iPhone down and turned off the light. She tried to sleep, but her iPhone vibrated. She picked it up, another picture, the same one, but now the figure was closer. Next the bed, her breathing got faster. She looked around, nothing, darkness. She covering herself with the blanket, closed her eyes, trying to ignore it. The iPhone vibrated again. She didn't want to look, but she did. Another picture. The figure was leaning over the bed. Right above here, she dropped the iPhone. She couldn't move, she couldn't scream. Everything was silent. Slowly, she opened her eyes. Complete darkness, nothing. Her iPhone vibrated on the last time. The screen turned on by itself. It was another picture, but this time it wasn't the room. It was your face, awake, looking at the camera and behind here, very close, something was smiling.
Okay, thank you for that podcast information about your experiences. And Armando get question for Paiva.
Juan Pablo, why was the girl scared when she saw the first photo on her cell phone?
Okay, good morning everyone. Thank you so much for your invitation today. She was scared because she didn't remember taking the picture and if showed here sleeping here in a room watching made that feel that someone else was aware.
Very interesting, bro. What would you do if you were in that girl's state?
Okay. The first, I am a very fearful person, and if I weren't in the situation, I would have run the life, taking would run careful. I can have someone for a help because I would feel very afraid. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Katie, and this is my podcast. And this didn't happen to me, but it happened to a relative of my mom a long time ago. We'll call him Lucas. Lucas was a man who worked with cattle and did farm work. One time he was around herding cows, and in the early morning he got really sleepy and exhausted. So they decided to stay at a farm nearby. Lucas hummed his hammock and fell asleep. All of a sudden, he feels like a pig knows him out of the hammock. He brushed it, he brushed it off at first, thinking, nah, it's just an animal. He lies back down, and again he feels something knock him off. That's when he says, "This isn't normal. This is really weird." So he raises the hammock, ties it up higher, so the pig can reach him. But then, out of nowhere, he feels the pig stand up on two legs and show him out of the hammock again. That's when he realizes isn't normal. This has to be a witch. The next day, he talks to his partner and tells them what happened. They say that could be a witch, so they make a plan for that same night. That night, they all decide to keep watch for the pig. He hands his hammock again, and when he feels the pig coming, they jump in and tie up the pig and beat the poor thing badly. They say that when you beat it like that, the next day a person wakes up sore and bruised, and that shows it was a witch. They tie up the pig and leave it there all night. The next morning, they hear that a woman nearby wake up completely beaten up. When they say her, they realize she was the witch. She was covered in bruises and everything. After that, they say here and stay insulting her and all that, and that's how the story goes. Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is my podcast.
Okay, my question now for Caitlin. The first question how do belief in witchcraft relate to daily life in the rural Syrian describe the history?
They are part of daily life and relate to everyday living. For example, there are some heavy places that are respect part of the river, mountains, or trees where spirit escape people. People don't go there at night or they ask for permission.
Okay, the second question, what do you think motivated Lucas to act the way he did at the end of the history?
I truly believe that what motivated Lucas to act that way was to be able to sleep and rest in peace at night, to avoid feeling so much fear, and to stop feeling like prey to the night.
Thank you, Caitlin.
You're welcome.
The next podcast.
Your son should not exist. One night a girl was alone at home. Before sleeping, she checked her iPhone. Everything was normal until she saw a picture she didn't.
Welcome to the My Night Boys. My name is Jose Alberto Montenegro, and tonight we step into the unknown. Some say the world is exactly as we see, but others have experienced things that cannot be explained. Tonight's story comes from a small town where something strange began happening after midnight. Two of the night, put on your earphones and let's begin. The town was quiet, too quiet. Every night at exactly 12:03 a.m., the same thing will happen. Lights will flicker, dogs will start barking, and a cold wind will pass through the street, even in the middle of summer. At first, people know it, just a power incident, they say, just the why. But then the disappearance began. One by one, residents report hearing something outside their windows. A soft whisper, not loud, no aggressive, just enough to make your skin crawl. Some describe it as a voice calling their name. Others say it sounded like someone crying out loud at the same time. and then would open their doors to look. We're never saying again. No scenes are stronger, no footprints, nothing, just silence. Until one night, a man decided to record what was happening. He set up a camera facing the front door and waited. At 12:03 a.m., the lights flickered, the whispers began, and the camera captured something no one could explain, a shadow, not cast by anything, not moving like a person, but standing there, watching, waiting, and then it moved closer.
All right. Well, Jose, your podcast are very interesting and so scary. And congratulations, bro. So tell me, how do you feel at that moment?
Well, Jose, honestly, the first feeling will be is a mix of tension or alertness, not pure fear, but that sharp awareness you get when something feels off. You seem kind of switch on. You listen more carefully. Your body gets still, and your mind starts trying to explain what happened as fast as possible.
All right, and it should be very difficult for you, Paul. And so the second question is, what would your reaction be if it happened to you right now?
Well, if it happened to me right now, my truly reaction would be controllable questions. I wouldn't rush to the door. I I would pause, listen again, maybe check through a window or a camera if there is one, and try to confirm whether it's a real person or misinterpreted sound. At the same time, they probably be a bit honest because hearing your name when you're not expecting it is something inscrutable.
All right, thank you, Jose. And pass the other podcast, please.
My podcast, Macabre Japanese Tale. Today's story is called The Cursed Japanese Village. Long ago, there was a small village in Japan called Kuroimura. People believed the village was cursed. Travelers avoided it, and even the nearby town spoke about it in loud voices. One evening, a young traveler named Ken was walking through the dark forest. He was tired and hungry because he had been traveling all day. Suddenly, he saw a small line between the trees. As he got closer, he discovered a village. It was quiet, too quiet. The house looked old, but some windows had warning signs. Ken felt nervous, but he needed help. He walked to the nearest house and knocked on the door. No one answered. After a few seconds, the door slowly opened by itself, with a soft creaking sound. "Hello?" Ken said. There was no reply. He stepped inside. The air was cool, and the house smelled old. There were old photos on the wall, but the face in the picture looked strange, almost sad. As he walked deeper into the house, he heard a whisper behind him. "Why are you here?" Kim turned quickly, but no one was there. His heart started beating fast. Then he heard footsteps above him, like some walking on the second floor. "Leave," an older voice whispered. Kim tried to open the door, but it would not move. Suddenly, shadows appeared on the wall. They were moving, but there was no line. The shadows slowly turned into the dark figures with empty eyes. Ken screamed and finally opened the door. He ran outside, breathing hard, but something was wrong. The village had changed. The houses were now broken and covered in dust. The lines were gone. The sky was dark and red. The ground felt cool under his feet. Around him, ghostly figures started to appear. They looked like people from the photos. You cannot leave, they say together. Keep trying to run, but the road disappeared. No matter where he went, he always returned to the same place. The whisper followed him everywhere. The next morning, the forest was silent again. There was no village, no houses, nothing at all. Only an old wooden sign stood between the trees. It read, Kuroi Mura, and below it, a new name was carved, King.
Oh, Dana, your history is really scary. And the first question is, why did Ken decide to enter the hole even to the field scared?
Okay, I got it. Ken decided to enter the house because he was tired and hungry after traveling all day, and he needed help even though he feels scared. He has no other option. So he went inside hoping to find someone.
Oh, this scary. And the second question is, what happened to Ken at the end of the story?
At the end of the story, King could not escape the cursed village. He disappeared, and the next morning the village was gone. Only a sign remained with the name Kuroimura, and King's name was added to it, suggesting that he became part of the curse.
Thank you, Dana. The next podcast.
Tonight, I'm going to tell you and warning you about the history of the unknown path and its eerie, endless forest, better known as the path of the isolation. The only man that witnessed the forest without getting lost forever today is severely traumatized and don't want to talk about it anymore because of the 120 people that disappeared. He was the only lucky to not be the, the 121 of them. You will see next what happened when you enter the forest. Wow. You will see an uncanny sound. It's like announcing, it's like uncanny and weird, melancholic, distorted trumpets next to another sound that is impossible to describe. Is an eerie music, growing and becomes too loud for your ears. Instead of running out, the forest traps you to run without exit. The forest destroys your mind to make you hallucinate things, everything. It's like your worst nightmares. The worst of it is that you cannot scream. You cannot scream for help because the forest don't let you to do it. If you wander around close enough to the forest will erase your memories like a parasite, eating all of your brain cells. It don't want to kill you. It only wants to suffer mentally, then getting lost forever. And it has worth at the time because you will be alive forever, but you will be trapped, and it's worse than death because you will be an emotionless and your loved ones start to forget you because you are trapped in the forest, and it will erase your name from the people, from your family, your loved ones. And all of this happened without the man knowing it. And for no reasons, The forest fed him with bleak memories, and he passed around 20 years in that forest. So his family don't remember him. He don't know why the forest did that. At the end, he told us for the love of God, do, do, do not enter that place that he called the place of the endless forest. Good night.
Interesting story. And how do you feel when you told the story?
I I felt inspired with of the of the children books. I feel inspired for the children books of the forest that can make hallucinate things. And I'm inspired about the Japanese forest from Akigara that some saying the people say that there is so much depressed people in that place that in their life there.
Okay. And Gina, have any question for you?
I have any question for you. Um, One question is what inspired you to make the story?
My inspiration was when I was a child. I loved the histories about scary forests because I don't know. I like it for some reason. So it's nice. It's nice to create a history about something that you love until your childhood.
Second question is it was complicated to make it?
And kind of because you mix your something real with something fictional, so it was tough for me. So thanks, and next podcast please.
Okay, thank you for your question, Gina. Let's start to the next podcast.
I've had nightmares for as long as I can remember. Over time, I learned to deal with them. Most people sleep with an eyelid to keep the dark away. I don't. For me, that's worse. Shadows bounce off the walls. My mind starts creating shapes and spiral into panic. My peace is in total darkness. I always sleep completely covered. Doesn't matter if it's hot or if the power's out. I need to feel. One night, One night, years ago, I had a dream unlike any others. I woke up inside the dream. I was aware, but my body wouldn't move. I was paralyzed. I shifted my eyes and saw him. A man in the corner of my room, black hat, black trench coat, staring right at me. The second he realized I could see him, he started circling my bed, slow. He sat down beside me. I tried to move, to scream, but no sound came out. My body felt like lead. Suddenly, I broke free. I jumped up and ran for the light switch. The bulb wouldn't turn on. Then I felt a violent yank that threw me against the wall. I scrambled up and ran for the door. My safe place was my grandmother's room. I know I yelled, no one answered. I tried every other light in the house, nothing worked. And then I woke up, but not in my bed. I was on the floor, on the opposite side of the room, lying there with a mirror frame on top of me, and that's what makes no sense.
I lean against the wall, tucking in a corner. I don't move in my sleep, fall asleep in the opposite, and wake up in the same one. I'm not a sleepwalker. I stood up, confused, checking my phone. 3 a.m. I was so drained, and I could even process. I just climbed back into bed and fell asleep. The next day, it hit me. How did I end up on the floor? Why was there a frame on top of me? It had never happened before, and it hasn't happened inside. But I still wonder what that night really was.
Okay, Valentina, that story must have been suffocating for you. Okay, Armando, do you wanna end the information for Valentina?
Yes, I have a question for you, Valentina. What do you think about these paranormal events?
Eh, After what happening to me, I think paranormal events can feel completely real. In my case, it felt like something was there, watching me and even touching me. It could have been paralysis, but the way the way I would hop on the floor makes it hard to explain. So, I think some experience might have a logical explanation, but others still feel like something beyond that.
Do you really think these events are something to fear?
Yes, I do. That night, the fear felt real and, and intense, like I was not alone. Even if it was just my mind, the experience was strong enough to leave a mark. I think the real fear comes from not knowing what is happening and feeling like you have no control.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Armando and Valentina, for ending information. Let's start with the next oral story.
Okay, thank you very much. With that podcast, we finished the activity today. Thank you to everyone. Say thank you to Mr. Carlos to giving us the time and giving us the opportunity to put in practice our skills. So let's see you on next occasion. Thank you for your listening. Thank you for your participation. Bye bye.
Bye.
Ciao.